is a very powerful library. With few lines of code, you can do the complete data analysis, and you can get an in-depth report of your data. Then next we proceed with the descriptive statistic. Now if you see, we can do it in Python also directly with describe method that is shown next, right? But the same thing, if you see, this pandas profiling library also gives you all the relevant information like count, mean, standard deviation, what is the minimum, what is the first quartile, second quartile, third quartile, and so on. Right. So we do sample.describe. That will give the descriptive statistics of your data. Now if you don't want to use the above mentioned package and still wish to plot the histogram or do some basic plots, then you can also do that by the hist function. So you have the data frame, the attribute, and the hist function. So that will give you the histogram plot. Right. But this everything we can directly get using the pandas profiling library package. Now next, let's check the distribution of the number of booking attempts that have been made. So we group by user ID and is booking field, and then aggregate by taking the count, and then plot it with user ID and number of bookings. So you can see that maximum number of bookings is 1. So number of bookings one is the maximum case. That is, 1 attempt is made for booking for particular user ID or group by the user ID. So at 1 attempt, either the booking is done or booking is not done. Next, so we again see what are the columns, then again peek it into the data. Check the data. Now let's check the distribution of the booking rate. So when you say booking rate, that is, you would like to know that what is the rate at which booking is done for the particular user ID or the customers. So here user ID relevant to customer. So we group by user ID and his booking field and take the average, and then group by this average and user ID to plot the mean. So you can see the plot that mostly the distribution of the booking is around 1. On an average, then after we do this basic analysis or basic data analysis, we would like to proceed with doing the business logic validation. Okay, so when I say business logic validation, so this is a hotel company booking data. So according to the business logic of the hotel booking, always the check-in date should be greater than the booking date. So this is the first case that we have to validate. Then we have to see to it that checkout date should be always greater than check-in date, and number of guests cannot be 0. When you are doing a booking, number of guests cannot be 0. But there might be discrepancy in the data. So we need to verify this discrepancy for validating the business logic, right? So first we check whether the number of guests are there any booking where the number of guests entry is not made. So we do pandas cross tab and then the to attribute for your cross tab that you're comparing. So adult count and children count. So now if you see that 174 cases are invalid in the data, because this case should not appear, right? Because number of guests when you do a booking should be greater than 0, but here it shows that there are 174 cases where children count is 0 and adult count is 0, right? So this is the discrepancy of the invalid business logic. So we need to remove this invalid entry, so we drop them. So we do data frame dot drop and then the to field sum where it equal to 0, drop all such index, and we put in place equal to true to drop it and reflect it in the same data frame, right? And then now we re-verify our this business logic where the number of guests need to be greater than 0. So now if you see that there are no cases of discrepancy or invalid entries. Next, we have this search checkout, search check-in, date time, and we need to convert this. So this is a timestamp. We need to convert it to date time. So we use again pandas to date REALTIME function to convert checkout, check-in and the date time of booking to the panda's date time. And then next, after we convert this to the date time, then we need to check where the condition fails. We have to filter out those cases because checkout date should be always greater than check-in date. So let's see whether there are such cases, right? So we want to see where search checkout is greater than is less than search check-in. Print those and give me the count, because if such cases exist, then that is invalid. So you can let's see that are there any cases. Okay, so you see the result displayed is there are two cases, that is index 34,000 and index 42,000. There is a case where search checkout is less than search check-in, whereas the case should have been that this checkout should be greater than the check-in date, according to the business logic of hotel booking, right? Next, our third validation case is that the check-in date should be always later than booking date. So let's see whether there are any cases in the data, and we print the count if there are any cases, such cases that exist. So you can see now there are 25 cases where the check-in date is not later than booking date. So it means that check-in date is before the date of booking, which is invalid, which is wrong, right? So see, if you see this example, it says that the check-in date is 5th January 2014, but the booking date is 7 January. This is not possible, right? So this is invalid entry. So we have to remove and drop those entries. Okay. Next, so you see there are 25 entries where the check-in date is before to the booking date, which is invalid. So you need to drop those by sample.drop, and then you can mention which attribute you are applying this drop and what is the case.